I got a headline here. I don't have a lot of details, Bob. The journal's reporting Qualcomm approached Intel about a takeover in recent days. What do you make of that, Bob?
Well, I heard Julie saying, yeah, that's quite the blockbuster move. And thanks for having me again, Josh. Look, I mean, it would be an enormous change. I do think in the current regulatory environment, it's going to be very difficult for Qualcomm to pull it off. I mean, there is a certain logic to it, right? I mean, obviously, Qualcomm is this, very successful US-based chip designer. Intel's got their own business. They have had a lot of challenges. I mean, it's hard to imagine that Intel has gotten to where they are, but they are. And so we have to accept that and figure out, okay, what is going to happen? It's not surprising to me that we've seen some people, potential suitors, come out and say, hey, this looks like a great opportunity, because I still believe in the long run, Intel has got a lot of opportunity. They have an incredibly important role to play as a manufacturer of chips in the US. And of course, there have been rumblings in the past that perhaps Qualcomm could become one of Intel's clients for their foundry, which of course would be a big deal as well. So it's hard to say, way too early, as you guys said. It would be a fascinating one. There is a lot of logic because there's not a ton of crossover in terms of their products. They have complementary types of products. Some of their products compete, for example, in PCs, but they could be seen as complementary offerings. So from a pure product perspective, it does make a lot of sense. They've both been doing some things in automotive. Obviously, they have, as I said, the ARM chips for smartphones. You've got Qualcomm's strength there. Intel's with PC in the data center. Qualcomm's done some data center stuff. So, again, logically, you're like, okay, this could be interesting. But my biggest concern would be, in fact, those regulatory issues.
Well, and Bob, just to drill down on this a little bit, if there was a potential workaround with Qualcomm only buying a part of Intel's business, for example, what would be you were just talking about sort of where they might match up. What would be most attractive to Qualcomm within Intel's business, do you think?
Well, the most logical thing would be their existing chip businesses, not the foundry, right? Mm-hmm. Qualcomm doesn't have experience in the foundry. So logically, I mean, my initial thought is they're going to go for the products. But part of the challenge that Intel is facing is that foundry business has to stay alive. It's too important to fail from a U.S. manufacturing and tech competitiveness perspective. And it's not clear that right now it's got enough on its own. Much of its foundry business is driven by Intel's own designs. So it would be kind of challenging to separate those two, but logically, if I'm Qualcomm, that's probably what I'm thinking. Unless, of course, Cristiano, the CEO of Qualcomm, decides, hey, no, I do want to get into the foundry business. But again, huge purchase, especially based on Qualcomm's current valuation. So lots of big questions.